this is Business
Okay.
Techniques. I'm here with Jose R. Perez. Jose, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, thank you so much, Miguel. I really appreciate you actually taking the time, inviting me to be in such a special type of show that you actually have going, this podcast. Something a little bit about myself. I've been doing this almost for 21 years. So in a sense, this is our pedigree because this actually started off with my older sister. And we currently, right now, there is 3 siblings that are currently in the insurance industry. I've been on my own for about 12 years now, and that is with Farmers Insurance. So we specialize in insuring anything when it comes to auto, home, business, or life insurance. Those 4, but obviously, that kind of branches out to a lot more other things.
Well, thank you for joining us today and providing us with your expertise in the field of insurance. I hope that people gain a lot from your knowledge and what you'll be sharing with us today. In general, like as an entrepreneur, what is the most challenging aspect of running a business for you?
That's a very loaded question because it really depends on what specifically what you want to talk about. But overall, it's a balance of almost everything, balancing sales, incoming sales, to managing staff, to retaining clients. Overall expenses, that's always critical to be looking at. But again, once you figure out the formula of how to do it, it becomes easier, and then it's more repetition than anything. But just hard work, perseverance, and just developing certain systems so you're able to expect those results that you're looking for. So without systems in place, you'll be all over the place, and it'll be hard for you to sustain a business like that.
I agree. I think with any business, systems and having procedures in place are critical for so many facets, and I'm glad that you pointed it out that there's so many different aspects of it. But just to touch on it a little bit, can you share with us maybe just a tip on or something that you've discovered or that you utilize within your business practice? I mean, because I can imagine that over the course of 10 years, there's a lot of different procedures that you've used. So maybe can you just share maybe like a general one that you use to this day?
Yeah, actually, you know what? It's something that I actually learned from day one, which is being transparent, being honest, and trying to educate your client. Because people understand, especially as insurance agents, this is a big industry and this is a complicated industry. So I'm the only industry that you pay for the product. And this is a product where the premium could be somewhere between either $1,000. There's premiums that go for $50,000 a year. And the only thing that I give you is a promise, which looks like, if anything, your package, and I hand over to you. So knowing that, we have to educate our clients and let them know that we're here for them and we're catering the policy specifically for what their business is. So that's one of the biggest things. So just being transparent and actually being honest with your client from day one.
I agree. I think that that's a big part of just doing, good business, is being straightforward with what you can do and what you can't do. And just making adjustments as a relationship proceeds. I think that's what it is, part of it too, right? Is building that relationship, that trust with a client and building off of that. Jose, can you tell us a little bit about how COVID-19 has impacted your business?
Well, it's actually affected us all across the board. Anything from retention. There's a lot of clients that they've never, ever had an issue paying the premiums a month. And now, because of the lockdown, it's really difficult for them to actually sustain the insurance. So we're dealing with that. A lot of my book of business is commercial. So that I'm kind of getting hit from all sides because of the fact that a lot of these business owners, they want to open up. Unfortunately, they can't. So that's affecting them as well. So right now, Farmers is trying to work out how they're going to be dealing with it. So they're a very, very good company. They're one of the first ones that came out that started giving refunds back, not just in the personal sides. I'm sure you guys have heard that other companies are following with their autos, but now Farmers is the first one to come out with the commercial side also, because Farmers is very deep when it comes to commercial. So it's really, really affected me. I'm fortunate that I can say that we are essential. So we are open, but also you have to empathize with your clients that as much as they want to pay, sometimes they can't. They have to choose between the insurance and feeding their family. And it's totally understandable. Your family comes first and foremost. Eventually, as we go along, as we get closer to opening up, I know it's just a matter of time. These are the clients that maybe they have to cancel their policies or leave right now. But I know eventually after this is done, it's something where we'll have to bring them back and get them back into the agency.
I mean, that's great that you're being understanding, because I think in a time like this, I mean, so many industries have been hit. I mean, even with ours, I think just in general, they're just scared. They don't know what's going to happen. They keep extending the dates. So there's all this uncertainty around the whole situation. So I think just in general, people don't want to spend at the time. And it makes sense. You know, like you said, you know, like feeding your family over you know, so many different variables that there are in life. What major adjustments have you personally had to make within your business as a result of COVID-19?
Well, one of the biggest things is actually having my staff work from home. So there was no point in them to be coming into the office, having to spend time in getting here when we're actually mobile. So we can actually work from home. So we're capable of just pretty much conducting business over the phone. Email, fax, it really doesn't matter. We can do e-signatures. So that's never been an issue. So that's one of the biggest things. But in the brighter side, you're kind of learning to adjust, because one of the things about being a business owner too is you have to be able to adjust.
Yeah.
So I know we're gonna get out of this. It's just a matter of time. This is very similar to like when 9/11 happened. I think this is just a little bit more complicated, but it was kind of the same thing. Even way back when I actually opened up my business in 2008. So that was difficult too, because
right
that's when
after the
everything
market,
started going down.
yeah.
Yeah.
The market
So,
crash
you know,
07, right?
yeah, it started in 07, 08, right around towards the end of 08, you started actually seeing that we were getting into more of a recession. So it did take a couple of years, but obviously that was a little bit more complicated because, you know, there were so many people that it was the actual market that affected everybody. This one isn't. Okay. I'm not downplaying what's happening, but I think me personally, I think maybe we were able to bounce back from this a lot faster. So I'm hoping to do that. I'm hoping that we'll all be safe first and foremost, because that's the most important thing is getting out of this, but, you know, being able to say that, you know what, we were all able to get out of it. Besides that, I mean, everything will go back to normal. I don't know what that word actually entails now, because you know what is normal, right? Yeah. So I don't think there's going to be such a that word's not going to be used around so easily now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, who thought that we're going to be like it? Who thought we're going to have to
there
have
you go
masks
with
for everything?
with
So
the branding. You got the JRP on it. Okay.
I know, yeah, I had
Nice.
to brand it, brother. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I had one of my clients actually, you know what, she was nice enough to do something like that for us.
Nice. That's
So
cool. Okay.
yeah, so again, you have to see the positive things that are coming out of all of this.
Yeah. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of creativity. You're seeing a lot of innovation. People are being forced to do things that they're not used to doing. You have to completely readjust, and it's just phenomenal, like to see certain things that are happening. But on the flip side, there's a lot of, you know, people that are really struggling. So the people that are really struggling, I mean, not everyone is that fortunate to be in certain positions, you know. So to people that are struggling, like, what recommendation would you have for them?
Just to be patient. I know it's hard to, especially with everything that's happening. But again, even everybody's trying to help each other out. One of the biggest things for housing is there's no evictions. So if there's no evictions, obviously that's something that's going to be in the back of your mind. But you also have to think, okay, you know what, I can point my attention to something else now. So it's just a matter of, you know, when we're able to get out of this, when we're able to open up, I think everything else should start, you know, normalizing. And that's what we just need to do. But we have to understand that we have to do it collectively. So we can't, you know, I understand people get frustrated and they get that cabin fever, but we have to see the bigger picture. It's always about the bigger picture.
Just to touch on evictions, I know we had spoken before, and I know that you own a property and you have tenants. What about the situation of being a property owner, and how do you balance that with someone that may be struggling? Do you feel like that it's fair that someone just doesn't pay completely? Because technically, I mean, that's something that right, they can do, right? But is it ethically or morally right to give something or to balance? Like how do you think that plays in that realm? You know, because there's two sides of it, right? There's a tenant,
Yeah.
and then there's a landlord side of it.
Hmm. And I guess that starts when you first actually, like for me, I have 22 tenants that I actually manage right now.
Oh wow.
So I can say a little bit more about this subject than other people,
Mhm.
because one of the biggest things that happens is the tenants are really the ones that are paying for the mortgage, a good portion of it. So when I'm actually looking to fill that apartment, I love to meet with the prospect tenants.
Mhm.
You want to get to know them a little bit more.
Yeah.
So when something like this happens, I
Mhm.
have been known to actually be helping out a lot of the tenants when they come to me and they actually tell me. There's been quite a few now that have said, you know what, I have been hit because they work in either in the nightclub business or sometimes I think a couple of them work in restaurants. So
Yeah.
some of these that are the fields that are actually closed. So all you can do is sit down with them, and again, total transparency, and they tell me, hey, look, I can't pay you the full rent, but I can give you this. So give me at least that much so I'm able to help them. And yeah, we have come to terms. So we've helped out quite a few tenants. But the people that think that, you know what, they shouldn't have to pay, that's when it becomes difficult, because again, that ends up snowballing effect where, okay, if you don't pay me, then I'm coming out of pocket. But for me to come out of pocket for so many units, well, eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to lose the property.
Mhm.
And if I lose the property, and the properties that I have are in Pilsen, so the rents that I'm asking for are not these exaggerated rents. So if you think about it, long-term effect again, what's going to happen is probably an investor might buy it, and then now the rents are going to be way much more expensive. So that's why you have to have tenants that you can sit down with them and explain that to them, that, hey, just because I own the building doesn't mean I'm a millionaire. So they
Exactly.
will, I could potentially lose the property as well. So, but overall, they've been really good. Again, there's quite a few that actually we've helped out, but overall, everybody's actually paid me on time.
It's just really about sitting down, being transparent, and just being fair. You know, like if someone,
Yeah.
if you legitimately can't pay a certain amount, just being transparent about that. But just just being
Yeah.
righteous, and don't say that you can pay a certain amount. In reality, you can pay a higher amount. Jose, thank you for that. I think that's great information to touch on, because like I said, there's two sides to it. There's a tenant side and there's a landlord side.